Hi everyone, it's Betty.
Hi, it's Emily. So we're back again with food of the month, and this month we're doing rice, because who doesn't love rice?
Yes, I'm gonna be showing you my traditional family recipe of congee.
And I'm doing a TikTok one-pot rice recipe.
Before we get into our recipes and taste tests, we'll go over some misconceptions about rice and teach you a couple facts.
Let's go. So the first misconception about rice is that it will raise your blood sugars. Well, this is true, but all carbohydrates will do that. So a better way to actually manage your blood sugars is choosing the right type of carbohydrate. So are you using parboiled versus whole grains? And are you having a large amount of it, or are you pairing it with proteins and vegetables?
Myth number 2 is that rice contains gluten. Actually, that's not true. Rice contains no gluten, and it's one of the most non-allergenic grains around.
Makes gluten-free eating a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
And our third and final myth is that rice is fattening. So rice is actually low in cholesterol and fat-free. And it also contains carbohydrates that are actually providing us with the energy we need and for repair and growth. And besides that, it also contains things like fiber, phosphorus, manganese, magnesium, as well as B vitamins. So Betty, can you tell me where was rice first found?
Rice was believed to first be domesticated in the Yangtze River district area in China.
So rice is the seed of the grass species or rhiza, and it's typically classified into short, medium, and long grain. So some examples of different types of grains are that. So for example, short grain is often used for things like rice pudding, and then we have a stickier short grain that's often seen in sushi, and a medium grain for sweeter dishes such as risotto in Italy, and finally some long grains are for things like sticky rice.
So how is this grain produced? The first step is to ensure the soil is appropriate, where they mix the different levels of soil to ensure everything is well mixed, and then they prepare the seeds. So it's either by transplant or direct seeding. They use either dried seeds or pre-germinated seeds to produce the crop. And a factor that is really important is the hydration of the seed during the first seeding period. Usually the lands are flooded over to make sure that this occurs. So the plant usually matures within 3 to 5 months, and it's either physically or mechanically harvested. If a more refined grain is needed, more processing usually occurs. So after you have all this information about this grain, we're going to go into our recipes and taste testing.
So I'm just frying up some garlic and shallots here to create a sauce slash marinade. So I'm putting in fish sauce. The pan is really hot here, so be careful. And also some soy sauce. And so once that's done, I also added some sesame oil, and here I'm just adding a little bit more. So I have my rice washed. And of course we do the finger test. If you're Asian, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm just adding a little bit less water than I would usually do. Some vegetables, some mushrooms, tomatoes, and I marinated some shrimp here with some hot sauce or lao gamma. And I also stirred up some eggs. We're gonna put this in at the very end. But all of these ingredients I'm going to put in the rice is going to have some moisture, so that's why I put in a little bit less water.
The first step is to soak the bean curd sheets and rice the night before. Gather ingredients such as the salted egg. These you may need to get rid of the mud in the exterior, or they come in salt packages. Marinate the meat of choice to a bit saltier than your preferred taste, as it's going into a large pot of congee. When preparing the ginkgo seeds, you break the exterior, remove the skin, and the inner stem, as these may cause the congee to become bitter. Boil the salted eggs first in the hot water. Then add the soaked rice, ginkgo seeds, and oil into the boiling pot. Like many family recipes, everything is by eyeballing. So if your rice isn't fully broken down yet, it needs to cook for longer. Add water to prevent thickening and scrape the bottom often with a very flat spatula to avoid the bottom from sticking. Remove the salted eggs and mince them into pieces. Add the soaked bean curd sheets when the rice are fully broken down, and when the bean curd sheets are separated, you can add the meat. Add more water as needed for everything to cook thoroughly. When the congee looks about like this, you're done. Usually takes around 2 to 3 hours.
Betty, why don't you try yours first?
Okay, so this is my congee, and there's some salted egg on top. You can mix it in or add as much as little as you like, depending on your taste. And so let's get into it. So the congee is very, very soft and fluffy. I think I did a good job this time.
Proud of you.
Thank you. So the flavor is definitely just right. It's not too salty, not too plain, which I really, really like. And the thing with making this at home as compared to like restaurants and stuff is that you don't use lard. So this is a lot healthier. I would definitely rate this 9 out of 10 because this is definitely a comfort food, especially when I'm sick. This is a go-to.
Will you deliver some for me when I'm sick too?
For sure, girl. I definitely will. It'll make you feel better. Okay. Why don't you try yours now, Emily?
Sounds good. So this is my 1 pot rice, and I'm excited about it because it was super easy to make. Honestly pretty impressed with myself.
How's it taste?
It is really good, and I think it has all like your fixins in there, like the vegetables, the protein, the carbohydrate, and I think the fried garlic really adds that taste to it that I really like. You know, extra garlic the better. And with mass and all that, no one's gonna smell your breath, so. I definitely give this an 8 out of 10. I feel like this is really easy to make for you to take to work or school. I definitely do this again for meal prep.
So how would you rate the ease of it?
I would say it's probably like a 9 out of 10 because because all I had to do was clean the rice and then just put in all the vegetables and protein I wanted in it, and then just leave it for the rice cooker to cook it.
I think for me it's similar for the congee, except the prep of it is a bit more. I feel like for the ginkgo seeds, you have to crack them, peel them, and do all of the prep work. The meat, you have to marinate it beforehand, and then you have to soak and prepare the dried bean curds. So it takes a bit more work beforehand. So I think for ease of mine, I would say maybe a 6 or a 7. It does take a longer time.
So it seems like it's such a simple dish when you think about congee, but when you break it down, there's actually so many steps and depth to it.
Thanks for joining us for this month's Food of the Month. Next month, we're going to bring up some childhood traumas of bitter melon, so look forward for that.
We'll
Be back next time. Bye, guys.